Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Frankie Light, and we're back with another video. So today's video, just sharing you, updating you guys where I'm at. By the time at the time of me recording this video, I currently have a language video that is being edited. Actually gonna finish up the editing today, and this is Sunday, by the way. Sunday, I think it's the 22nd of September, and yeah, man, I've been doing a lot well, guys. A lot of you guys still reaching out, still getting emails. You know, it's so funny, right? I'll do a language video. Right? And for the love of God, that video will not go viral. As soon as I say, I need your help, I'm suffering, I get all that's like my best performing video in like such a long time. I mean, it's kind of like, it's like flattering, but at the same time it's happy, but it's kind of like bittersweet, because it's like, yeah, all these people care about me and they see I need help, so the video's getting a lot of engagement, but at the same time it's like, damn, man, why what about my language videos, you know what I mean? Anyway, just throwing a little joke in there. So today's topic, I wanted to discuss something with you guys, because I usually, okay, so like people, they'll normally like journal, right? Journaling has been very effective in like alleviating a lot of mental anguish, and I strongly recommend anyone who hasn't have an outlet, who can't afford a therapist, or doesn't have any people to listen to them. I began my journaling journey when I went to Dubai about a year ago. It's been like 2 years now, I think it was 2 years ago, and that's helped me out a lot. But what I've noticed that I appreciate and I like even more is just speaking out loud to myself. I've always done it, but I've kind of like hid with doing it, like kind of try to be discreet, but now I just don't care. Like, I just talk to myself out loud, you know? So currently walking through South Seaport. I love this area. My old building is like across the street. Yeah, so I was talking to myself out loud yesterday, and I realized something as I was working throughout. I like to just talk to myself, say, okay, all right, Frankie, how did you do today? And just literally just talk to myself like I would talk to a therapist. And it's been really, really, should I grab something to drink in a second, because the only thing is that I want to get a 0-calorie drink. I don't want coffee because I'm having a headache right now. I don't want to. Seems like coffee makes it worse because it dehydrates you. So I was talking to myself, and I realized that as I was talking to myself, that it's interesting because you begin to explore the deeper excesses of your mind. You know, it's funny, like when you just talk to yourself, you're able to kind of like get to the bottom of your own issues without the need of someone else. And that's essentially because at the end of the day, right, I am a firm believer that you really know what you need to do at the end of the day, right? Like there really isn't, like, don't get me wrong, a medical professional with experience has probably come across this problem numerous amount of times through different patients, and they've also studied the psychology, so they're definitely aware. But I feel as though that if you're competent enough, if you're capable enough, you could in fact speak out loud and literally understand how you sound when you hear it, you speak out loud, and really work through these problems yourself. So last night I had one of those moments where I was speaking to myself. I was speaking out loud. I was like, all right, Frank, I'm laying in bed. I'm like, all right, Frank, so how do you feel, man? How was your day today? Oh, my day was good. Literally like that, a fucking conversation, a dialogue, just with one person, just me. Like, yeah, I'm doing pretty well, you know. I'm really happy with things going on. I'm really happy that I'm able to make videos again, and I have a better attitude. Okay, all right. What else? How do you feel about where you're at right now? In your career, what is it that you want to do? And I work through these questions that I have with myself about things that I'm currently pursuing and where I'm currently at. And during that dialogue with myself, there was a moment that I realized something, right? And this is what I think this is going to interest you guys. So I've always kind of like prioritized vanity metrics, right? How popular I am, how good looking I am, how into I don't say this to sound arrogant or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, these are the things that I pretty much place my value, my self-worth on. And I feel like a lot of people can agree that they've done this to a certain extent, because I mean, especially if you're a creator, a content creator, that is essentially, you are being paid to be the most popular. The more popular you are, the more money you get, such and such and such. And for me, it was just like, my personality, my development has always been geared and prioritized towards vanity metrics. So I'm gonna actually read to you what exactly vanity means, because I want to get you the exact. My understanding of vanity has always been like just outward, surface level, superficial. Superficial. It means just superficial, right? Yeah, it's just very superficial. It says excessive pride in or admiration of one's own appearance or achievements. It also says the second definition is the quality of being worthless or futile. Okay, we're definitely talking about the first one. It's talking about conceit, right? And for me, when I mention and I say vanity, I'm just talking about just things relating to just outward acceptance, right? Or things talking about skill sets, developing different skill sets. And I've always excelled in that area because it's just always who I've always been. I built my personality on that. And I think that really stemmed from a young age. I've learned that, okay, the society or your peers, my peers, place value upon performance, what you could do, or what do you have, or, you know, and it's always, even into adulthood, society is still constructed in that way. You know, if you're aware enough, you can kind of like, if you're aware enough, you'll realize that there's other things that are more important. But that's where I'm at right now, and this is why you guys are viewing this journey with me. But long story short, growing up, that's why I've always, you know, I think it literally just started when it just came from like name brand shoes, like, you know, name brand clothing. Like growing up in the hood, you know, you wasn't nothing if you didn't have any Jordans, some Air Jordans or some Nikes, right? And you know, my grandfather, he's an immigrant from Trinidad, and he would literally just take us to Payless. Like, he'd just take us to Payless and just, like, you know, Shaq, you get the Shaq. Yeah, what y'all know about the Shaqs that was Duncan? Yeah, that was my grandfather. He was that guy. He would get us the Shaqs. But then when I wear this, you know, I'm a kid. Like, this is my first exposure into, like, you know, society, I guess you would say. And when I got to school, I put up with the Shaqs, and everybody got the Air Jordans. Like, yo, what are those? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm getting roasted. I'm talking about Brooklyn in the early 2000s, Flatbush. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting roasted. So after that happened to me, I was just like, all right, yeah, Shaqs is not gonna cut it. So then my mother eventually, my mother went and purchased me, I can't remember the exact Jordans. I think it was the 23s. It was the Jordan 23s. They just came out. Bro, when I tell you, when I put them on, literally the contrast and difference of how people treated me after that, and then right then it was just like I was hooked. I was like, okay, wait a minute. And then it helps to understand a little bit of my background too, because I was more so an outcast as well in my neighborhood, on my block, because of just, I don't know, just, you know, just growing up, kids didn't really, I didn't really get accepted or embraced by kids on the block until eventually I got a little older. But my first interaction with them was just like, I don't know. So, long story short, that was my first interaction and exposure to how, by having certain things or possessing certain traits or having certain skill sets or objects, people will treat you differently, right? So ever since then, I was like, all right, bet. I'm never wearing no Shaqs or no Payless shoes or anything like that. Everything's gonna be name brand. So my grandfather, you know, thank God, he did pretty well for himself. He worked on Wall Street. He did pretty well for himself, but he's just very a frugal person. He was not buying me any Payless sneakers. He was not buying me any $100 sneakers at 10, 11 years old. He was just not gonna do it. Like, he doesn't care how much he doesn't care how much mental anguish and bullying I was experiencing in school. He did not give a crap. You know what I'm saying? It's just old school Trinidadian, Caribbean mindset. Like, you're gonna go to school, you're gonna wear this, you got a nice pair of dungarees, and you got a nice pair of this, and that's it. And you know, it's good that I had that kind of male figure in my life to kind of like, that kept me balanced, because my mother would always just, whatever we wanted, she'll buy it. So she at least was able to, let me make sure that okay, she was at least able to always provide me the clothing that would help me from getting socially outcast from the kids at school. But I don't want to harp on that topic too much. The whole point of me bringing it up as an example is because, all right, that literally played a significant role in my development of who I am as a person, right? So I've always been that. So ever since then, I was just like, okay, it was just like, okay, I need to have nice clothes to be accepted, or I need to be popular. Like I was, and then, it just literally, it was just kind of like building my, personality around validation, because then I noticed around that age, I was like, okay, being the funny guy, being the class clown also got me cool points as well. Like the cool kids or whatever would embrace me more, or they would like me because I was a funny guy. That's how I developed my personality, being this funny guy, right? So being funny, because it was a skill set as well. Like being funny, like I felt like it was like I had to develop. Like I was always, I'm innately goofy. Like I'm kind of like I like to have fun. I'm a joke. I like to joke around and stuff. But like I kind of like, all this points towards the fact that I developed myself into this person, all for the approval and the acceptance and the validation of other people. And what that has done for me has gotten me to great high places, because I don't give a crap who's in the room. I've perfected that skill set where I can get along with everybody, and that's why you guys love the channel so much, because I can literally get along with anybody, right? I know how to break down those guards really easily, really quickly, and I'm very effective at doing that. But it's become my personality. That's why it seems so natural to y'all. But you guys are seeing kind of like the story behind that, like I feel like, I don't know, I maybe, I was always like that in a way, but needless to say, so I was talking to myself, right? So I was asking myself, like, what is it that, I've noticed that resistance is what gets me results. If I look back at all the things I was able to accomplish at my age of 28 right now, like it was an enormous amount of resistance and persistence to get to a point where it was like I got respectable results, right? So when we talk about me learning how to cut hair, it was very difficult at one time. Learning how to cut hair, learning how to blend effectively, learning how to fade, like do a nice fade. I'm not talking about like a lot of you barbers, no offense, a lot of you barbers. No, I'm talking about a nice blend, a nice fade, and a blend that's so nice that I was cutting all races, not just black. I was cutting white, Asian. It was coming to get my fades. But in the beginning, it was very difficult. So then I started saying, okay, wait a minute. I started looking at, okay, when I learned how to cut hair, when I learned how to do digital marketing, when I learned how to speak Chinese by far, which was literally the most difficult thing, and I'll explain why it was the most difficult thing. Just beyond it was most difficult even beyond the fact that it is arguably the most difficult language in the world. But there's more things that made it difficult, which I'll get into in a second. But it was all of these skill sets that were very difficult and required and offered a lot of resistance that kind of made I understand the concept that if you want something bad enough, if you want something, you have to put in work. I understand that concept. So I know I'm not lazy, I know I'm not all this stuff. Like I understand that it's gonna require resistance. So if you're in that place in your life right now where you want something, it's gonna require resistance. Now I was like, okay, I was talking to myself in bed. I'm just like, all right, wait a minute. I was like, that epiphany, that aha moment in the pitch dark, laying down. I'm just like, wait a minute. I mean, it's a law of nature. It's a law of. I was like, I established that if you want to get something, you're already good at that, Frank. You know how to, like, if you want something, you're gonna get it outwardly, right? No matter the resistance, you're gonna work it through. Learning how to trade, learning how to cut hair, learning how to do marketing, learning how to speak Chinese. I am used to, and my skin is tough enough to to power through those obstacles, power through that resistance that's present, and to get to what I need to get to. But I said, wait a minute, Frankie. I think you've been living your whole life powering through these resistance, powering through what we will just call outward resistance, and you haven't gone through or powered through the inner resistance. You have not powered through your inner resistance. Okay, now then I thought about saying, okay, what I talked to myself, like, what the fuck do you mean my inner resistance, Frankie? Like, what do you mean inner resistance? I'm like, it was the aha moment, but I was like, okay, you got something, but I need you to break that down. Like, what do you mean your inner resistance? Okay, it's okay. Right now, what are you doing? What have you done every time when something becomes boring to you, when you lack contentment with it, when you lack, that is a form of emotional or mental resistance that you then have an opportunity to power through. See, all this is just you. It's just a lack of development in an area of your life. That's why you feel incomplete. That's why you don't feel whole. Your whole life, you've been giving so much priority and so much power to your external development, into obtaining things externally, obtaining this, building that, building this, getting that. But you've neglected you. You've neglected your inner self. You neglected your essence, right? So I'm in the bed like that meme, like, it was like really powerful. It was like a really powerful breakthrough in this whole self-development journey that I'm sharing with you guys, because I've honestly never looked at it that way until last night. And it was until I talked to myself out loud and really vocalized these battles, these inner thoughts and battles. I was like, wait a minute, I haven't. Because my whole life I prioritize outward acceptance, outward validation, and shit, nothing else matters. Feelings don't matter. This world operates by performance. You gotta perform. You need to be that guy. You need to be the most popular. You need to be the well-groomed. You need to be the best. You need to be well-spoken. You need to be this, that. You need to be perfect, right? Because all my life I saw how perfection was rewarded, which also helped me develop insecurities as well. But nonetheless, like, I saw, like, okay, if I don't perform well in school, if I don't do this or I don't do that, I won't be accepted. And it was some people that kind of hinted at that in the first video. There was like, Frankie, we love you just the way you are. You're enough. And it did struck a chord in my heart, you know what I mean? Because all my life I felt like I wasn't enough, because me as myself, just being me wasn't enough. So I'm at the age right now, 28, I'm still finding out who I am. I'm finding out who I am, what I like to do. I know what I like, you know what I mean? When I say who I am, I just mean like who I am without the external metrics, the vanity metrics. Who am I without the things that I've achieved and obtained? Who am I? Who is Frankie that doesn't speak Mandarin Chinese and speak these different languages? Who am I that doesn't know how to cut hair, that doesn't know how to trade, that doesn't have all these possessions? Who am I? And it's a very deep question. I think it's a question that I've always been subtly pursuing in the back of my mind, in my heart. Let me take off my book bag, because let me tell you something, yo. This book bag is heavy as fuck. Oh gosh. Ugh. Oh man. Y'all like my little bucket hat? Gave myself a little shave. I literally took this from my sister, my little sister's room. Shout out to Phyllis. Anyway, yeah. Who am I? Who are you, Frankie? And I'm in a very beautiful place right now in my life where I understand that the way I really begin to connect with who I really am is to disconnect from the external world, which is going to be difficult. But why? Because my livelihood is dependent upon the things that I'm doing, right? Like, I make a living from being a YouTuber. I make a living from the different things that I'm doing now. But I find solace in the fact that the only way is forward, right? The only way for me to understand who I am and to really develop into the person that I'm striving to become, which is a person that's deeply connected, knows who he is, and all that stuff, is by powering through these mental and emotional resistance. Okay, mental resistance, like I get bored of things easily. Yeah, I get it, it's ADHD symptoms, but I don't know, a part of me just feels like, yeah, this whole fucking labeling of ADHD, you know, man, all this shit is just mental. It's just all mental, right? And I think that if I just really take my time and really just keep following this path, I can really untie the knot that exists in my head, and I can figure out who I am. So yeah, emotionally, what does that mean? Powering through the resistance. That could be in relationships. I have a pattern when it comes to relationships. It's the same thing with career. I find issues with it. Oh, this person's not good enough. They're doing this problem. These things that I do, and can you imagine? This is also like burdening the other person with trauma as well. Like, it's kind of like making them feel inadequate. It's making them feel insecure. But the truth is, it's not them, it's me. And you know, it's just kind of like, all right, I don't have the answers yet, but we're getting there. I feel like I'm getting closer and closer, right? This is I want to make this very clear. This is largely independent work that I'm doing, and I think any self-help or self-development work is going to be largely independent. A skilled psychiatrist or a psychoanalyst or a therapist has the ability to kind of like get you there quicker, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I have had sessions with therapists, by the way, you know what I mean? But literally, it's just the intention, the power of the intention, and just really just getting to what matters. Like, asking yourself and pondering on these topics for a considerable amount of time. Like, all right, you know, like, that's how I came to the whole realization about mental resistance, how I've been avoiding it. You know, I've been avoiding mental resistance. I've been avoiding emotional resistance. Now, even though these kind of concepts isn't clearly defined yet, like I haven't clearly defined what exactly mental resistance is, I do believe that a form of mental resistance is powering through the things I don't want to do. You know, powering through, let's just say, like discipline, like powering through making YouTube videos even though I'm kind of like bored with it. Why? Because, bro, you're gonna constantly do this. It's gonna be the same thing with everything else. It's gonna be the same thing. You have to learn how to find the contentment and the joy within yourself, within me, as I continue to press forward. So I don't want to make this video too longer, guys. That's pretty much it. Don't worry, we're gonna have more of these deep talks together. This is me, literally. Without me in front of the cameras, you're now understanding the person behind the character, Frankie Light. You're understanding Frankie, what made Frankie the way he is, why he thinks the way he is, how is he able to navigate and just so effortlessly attack and effortlessly achieve and produce and be a really great producer of things that I touch. And it's literally just because all my life I've been kind of like trained that you don't get love until you produce, and it's kind of like left me feeling empty my whole life. That's, if I would describe it, like this is a feeling of emptiness that I have, and I'm searching and I'm going around. I'm like, all right, maybe if I learn Chinese, I mean, to be fair, all this stuff is happening on a subconscious level. It's not like I have a conscious, like I'm consciously like, yo, I'm gonna learn Chinese just so I can be accepted. Nah, it's not like that. It's more or less these are things happening on a very subconscious level that I'm not aware of, and that's what I say, to excavate all that buried shit deep down inside. You have to go deep, and you have to ponder. You have to follow these trains of thought, see where they go, speak out loud. So I'm just really grateful that last night I was able to have that moment, and yeah, man, we're here, guys. So thanks a lot for joining me today for this Frankie self-talk videos. Actually, this is from a new camera. I freaking, my last one got pickpocketed in Flushing, all right, and it bumped me out. Shout out to Shao Mom, my effing boy. That's my boy, you know what I'm saying? He said, yo, Frankie, you gave me a talk. He's like, take this camera. I have an extra camera. Dude, I'm telling you, man, I really cherish and value friends like that. I want to embrace and welcome more people like that in my life. I don't want people who see competition and want to be, you know, egotistical. I don't want that, all right? I grew up from the hood. You know, we have all these characters. I grew up with all those type of characters. I don't want that. I'm all about just self-development, self-growth, positivity, and I want to embrace those type of people in my life. I'm just making space for that, and just things that no longer serve me, I'm just kind of like slowly removing them out. And it's all love. I have no bad, I don't have any type of hatred towards people. I don't have any type of anger. You do you, I'm gonna do me. But where I'm at in life, and you see the things that I'm tackling, I need people that's going to be able to assist me in these areas, that's going to be able to help me, and so that I could then therefore share it with the world and provide value to you guys beyond entertainment, right? So yeah, man, my camera got pickpocketed, but he let me borrow his camera, and then I was able to buy a new one. So actually I was able to buy a new one for like nearly, not half the price, but a third of the price, with more benefits. So, you know, God is good. So that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned. We got a language reaction video coming up really soon, and some other interesting things. Love you guys. Peace.